Alrighty, guys, what's going on? Late Night Green interview edition. Happy Thursday, guys. Happy Thursday, Todd Father.
Yo, happy Thursday, man.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing good, man.
Well, after that performance on Tuesday, you got people talking, man.
Tuesday was a lot of fun.
Tuesday was a lot of fun, man. And so, but tonight, we've got a phenomenal interview on hand. I am extremely excited to have our guest for this evening. And I know you are.
Very excited.
Yeah, we all are here at the studio. So let me do the proper introduction. So our guest tonight is the first African American to own a licensed dispensary in the United States. Since 2022, she served on the University of Colorado Board of Regents. She managed several political campaigns. She was also unduly censured in 2025 for criticizing a campus public health campaign about the risks of cannabis. And currently, she is challenging the incumbent Democrat U.S. Representative Diana DeGette. She has served for 3 decades in the U.S. House of Representatives, and she is going to be in the upcoming Democratic primary. She also supports the full end of all cannabis prohibitions, and she is one of our own. Welcome to the show. There's a lot that I put out. Welcome to the show, Wanda James. Wanda, how are you?
Hey, how is everybody?
Hey, how are you?
So happy to have you on the show.
I'm so good.
That's the longest
I'm so
list.
good.
That's the longest list of accolades I have read so far. So that means that our guests are good, man. How are you, Wanda?
I'm doing so well, and thank you for having me on the show tonight. This is fantastic. Late Night Green. It's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. And so we're on the same team as you are, as you probably have figured out at this point. But what we want to do tonight, Juan, is we want our audience to get to know you better, understanding your past, there's some controversy, where you are today. So why don't we let's start with some of your origins. Where did you grow up? And give us a little bit about your early days.
So that's so funny. So I was born a poor black child. My father was military. So every 4 years we left Colorado and went to Europe. My mom is British. And so I was raised in Colorado here in the United States and in Germany and England and, oh my gosh, Germany again.
Everywhere.
So we were back and forth a whole lot, typical military child. Graduated from the University of Colorado Boulder. And I'm the first black woman commissioned through the Naval ROTC unit at the University of Colorado Boulder. So when I left CU, I went into the Navy, where I was an anti-submarine warfare officer. And I spent 4.5 years in the military and started then in corporate America. Then I met this amazing man that I ended up marrying at some point along the way. And we opened up our first restaurant in Los Angeles, California, on 4th and Wilshire, called the Jamaican Cafe. And
we missed that one in our research, Wanda.
I mean, we loved it. So it was funny. On one of our first trips, Scott took me to Jamaica because he loves Jamaica and he spent a lot of his 20s there. And we were sitting on the beach in Negril. And we were smoking a joint, and Scott says, I kid you not, he looks over at me and he goes, we're going to get rich one day off of jerk chicken and weed.
Wow. And what a place to have that vision, right?
That's phenomenal.
It made me laugh.
That's phenomenal.
So he's opened up 6 restaurants since then. And, I've worked on all kinds of political campaigns and, and that brings us to, where we're at today. So, politics, food and weed. Power and politics.
Right on.
It seemed like both of you guys are a natural couple because, the many businesses he started and all with your vast resume and all the things you're into, that's 2 go-getters right there.
Yeah, and you get to do this stuff with your best friend, and as corny as that sounds, he really is he's my best friend. There's nobody else I'd rather go to a movie with or go shoe shopping with, or just hang out. So
that's wonderful.
That's
best
awesome.
friend.
Yeah. So I have a question. So in my research, I found out that you were a part of the integrated undersea surveillance system. And is that true? And that was involving tracking submarines, kind of like Red October in a way?
That's exactly what it was. Ironically, one of my professors at the University of Colorado was actually his PhD actually discovered the hunt for Red October when one of the nuclear submarines went rogue in the Russian submarine service. And so I became fascinated with underwater surveillance and submarines, and that's what I was able to do when I was in the military.
Phenomenal. And when you were in the military, how did that naval experience shape you as a leader that you've become today?
You know what? And it's a great question. And I love that question because being in the military, and so, that was a long time ago. That was before we had a, plethora of women coming into the military or even serving in combat roles. But that time, it took the word can't out of my vocabulary, right? Because, when I first got in there, I didn't think I was going to be able to do all of the physical things that you had to do in the military. And I did, and I didn't think I was going to be able to, at a very young age, be the officer for a team of people that were tracking submarines. And I did, so my lesson at a very young age was, whether you believe you can or can't is true. And so it took the word can't out of my vocabulary, which made it possible for us to go up against the federal government when we said that we were going to legalize cannabis.
And that's a great answer because that's you've taken that experience and you've applied it into a
Yeah.
very worthwhile all worthwhile experiences
Yeah.
and causes.
Yeah, that's interesting. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, at what early moment did you find that your causes were beyond just yourself, and you were into other causes and helping other people? So it sounds like at an early age you found that.
You know, Ironically, I get asked that a lot. And I think that I'm just wired that way, right? It's not like I wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to go out here and change the world or do something that helps other people. I think that when you put yourself out there and you put yourself in scenarios where you have the opportunity to be of service, you know, you are of service to people and you find ways of making things better. And for me, the idea of legalizing cannabis was because my brother was a slave for 7 years, right? And so being in politics came before cannabis, and being in politics and getting to know the people who are going to be making the laws and fighting for change and being able to put yourself in that position to be able to help people and change the world, or change your little piece of the world. It matters, right? And so
It
whether
really
it's
does.
big or large, you know, being able to be of service to people matters. And
That's
that's why I'm running for office as well too now, because we're seeing politicians not help people. They're only helping themselves. They're helping themselves to millions of dollars. They're helping themselves and their family, but ignoring what people need, which is health care and opportunities to go to school and ability to buy homes and not get arrested or killed by the cops. Having America be a place that people still want to come to. And as corny as all of that sounds, that really means something to me. So
That's
here we are.
special.
We're
Yeah,
running for
that's super.
office.
Wanda, that's super special. In the world of not many people can say that they're the first of something. I don't know if Todd and I can say we're the first. I might be the first one to create a weed claw machine, for example, here on the side of me.
Hey,
Hey, but being the first, when you walk in, when you walk in the room and you're the first, like, what's that feel like? Like, does that feel like an accomplishment? Does it feel like a lot of pressure? Tell me what that feels like, because I don't know.
you know, so the first African Americans legally licensed to own a dispensary and edible company and a cultivation facility. I didn't know that until after it already happened. We found out that we
wow.
were the first when they did, what was that? It was a CNBC, Marijuana USA. And that came out in 2010. And one of the reporters said to us, "You realize that you're the first African Americans legally licensed." And that was the first time that it was brought to our attention, with Colorado being the first state that passed. And then, I mean, Colorado has so many black people here. No, but Colorado has so few black people. There was not a bunch of people rushing to open up dispensaries and cultivation facilities. So when we found out that we were the first, we didn't know. So you don't go into anything, or at least I don't. You don't go into anything saying I'm going to be the first, because you can't, right?
No, you can't.
Being the first black woman commissioned through the Naval ROTC unit at the University of Colorado Boulder, I didn't know that until I ran for regent. And one of the people at the battalion said, they're like, Wanda, we think you're the first black woman commissioned through the battalion. And I'm like, get out of here. And we started looking and we did the math, and, you're the first. But here's the thing that I will say, which is interesting, and I'm really glad that you brought that up, especially when it comes to cannabis, because over the years, there have been people who want to argue whether you're the first or not, right? And some people have claimed that they were the first because they opened in California under collectives or different things, and they got a little upset because they didn't get the recognition for being the first or whatever. And what I said to them was, I said, you know what? I don't care if I'm the first, the 10th, or the 800th. If you were the first and you didn't bother to speak out, if you were the first and you didn't fight and bust down the doors for everybody else coming behind you, then you destroyed you being the first, right?
Amen.
Or you being known as the first. Because the first means that you take arrows. The first means that if you're going to be the first to bust through the door, you better be the first ready to throw fists and ready to fight, right? Because you've got to bring the others with you. You've got to bust down the doors. You've got to fight for what matters. If you're the first and you stick your head in the sand, then what good was it being the first?
Well, excellent view. Excellent view.
Put perfectly.
And it seems befitting to you to not even know you're first at a couple of things, because it seems like you're just a hard worker and you're determined to do what's good in your heart. So you're just doing, and whatever that comes with. So we applaud your effort. It means a lot.
I am going to be the first black woman elected to Congress from Colorado, though.
There you go.
I'm going to be the first.
There you go.
I know that one's coming. So
let's go.
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
I wish we could vote, but we can't there. But we're going to input. We're going to tell everybody we know.
It's not like Chicago, where you can just vote anywhere. But
we will celebrate you when you win.
So Wanda, when Colorado legalized early, the equity side of it didn't really come around in the beginning, or maybe at all. What's your thoughts on that, and how did you see that, and what did you do about it?
So you know what? That was the most disappointing thing about Colorado. So y'all, you know that I had to fire my brother. So my brother is a cannabis felon. You guys heard me tell the story that my brother was arrested at 18 with $164 worth of street weed, and it cost him 10 years of his life. 4 of those years he spent in a privatized prison system picking cotton.
$164 worth.
Shame.
Yeah,
That's
it was
sin.
4 ounces. And y'all remember baggies? Remember that was $40, right?
4-finger lid, right?
Yeah, that 4-finger lid. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
So $164 cost him, 10 years of his life. So, I forgot what I was answering now.
Well, I mean,
what did you guys ask me?
about the equity side of Colorado's program.
Oh, the equity side. So, because he was a cannabis felon, when cannabis first was legal in Colorado, you could have been a murderer that got out of prison. You could have been an embezzler. You could have stolen cash. You could have beaten children. You could have beaten your wife, and you could own a dispensary. But if you had a drug felony, you could not open a dispensary. Or even at that time, even be an employee at a dispensary or a cultivation facility. So the first year, there were no real rules. And then in 2010 was when all of the rules started coming out. And I had to fire my brother, and it was heartbreaking because he couldn't work for us.
Goodness.
So shamefully put in prison for something he should have never been put in prison for, and then the double whammy of not even being able to allow. That's.
And part of legalizing is to help those people who are marginalized who are
Yeah.
got in prison and make it right.
Yeah.
So here it is. He got hit twice.
So the Amendment 64 campaign committee, while I'm proud of the fact that we got legalization over the hump, I am not proud of the fact of the concessions that we had to give to be able to make it happen with the DEA. And make no mistake, these were the federal people coming down on us saying that, no drug felons, they're over concern of interstate commerce of weed being grown here and then sent somewhere else. Which to this very day, I don't know what the problem is, because if you're growing it in America, you should be able to sell it in America, period. Right? I mean,
Right. Period.
Just limiting it to one state was stupid. But no, we did not have the voices in place. We did not have the people in place to be able to fight for equity, which is the problem in Colorado right now, because even today, I think that there are only 3 or 4 black dispensary owners here in Colorado, and I don't know how many Latinos, but not a lot out of the 790 dispensaries that there are in the state. So yeah, we really messed that up entirely when it came to equity. It was not done proper. It was not done correct. And then by the time we tried to layer equity on it, the overproliferation of dispensaries and cultivation facilities and MIP facilities in Colorado, there was just no room for anybody to get involved except for the very, very, very wealthy. So
Exactly.
unless you're
Wow.
coming to Colorado today to buy 20 dispensaries, you're not getting involved.
Right. Wow,
It
that's
was a mess.
something. And so,
Yeah, it was a mess.
and so Simply Pure, this was your dispensary, was more than a dispensary. It was almost a statement, right? And so, what type of resistance did you get along the way? Like, I'm sure you had some things thrown your way. Like, what were some of the memorable ones that you could share with us?
So I'll never forget, it was on my birthday in 2009. The Denver Post wrote the article, September 17th. They wrote the article, and it was called Coming Out of the Cannabis Closet. And it was the first article that was written on us that we were opening up a dispensary. Y'all, the day after my birthday, I got phone calls from former mayors, from elected officials, from everybody that was anybody in Denver, saying that I had destroyed my career, that I had just told the world that I smoke weed, and that no one's going to want to be around me anymore, and I'm going to be a persona non grata. And I had to laugh, because at the time we owned a restaurant called 8 Rivers, Ocho Rios, and if you walked in, there was a huge mural of Bob Marley. I mean, when I say huge, it was like huge mural of Bob Marley. And I graduated from the University of Colorado, and I was like, people are confused that I don't smoke weed, but I mean, what are you confused about?
Yeah.
This isn't a secret, So, and I remember having to push back on those folks and saying, the reason why I know that cannabis is going to be legal and why this is going to be something that is going to be big in America is because of the people that I have gotten elevated with. Lawyers, doctors, elected officials, you name it. There was no, and there is no sector of society that does not partake in cannabis, right? And when you are somebody that enjoys weed, and especially from Colorado, it's a national pastime in Colorado, right? There's skiing and there's weed,
Right,
and the
yeah.
Broncos. So it's what we do here. And these people were being hypocrites, and I was right and they were wrong.
Hey, you were forward thinking.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't even forward thinking. It was just that we were out here, right? And I mean, I'd spent my life getting elevated with people from every walk of life that consume cannabis.
And I think that's really the most important thing out of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Of the summary. It's cannabis is something that brings people from different parts of the spectrum, whatever spectrum it is, whether it's political, personal views.
Yep.
If you put people who are on opposite sides, just say politically, in a room, and they're pot smokers, they're cannabis enjoyers, and you furnish them with some cannabis, they're going to be just fine, absolutely just fine. It's when we divert from that, it's when we move beyond that, where people start having these conflicts. Cannabis is the common denominator. It's the thing that brings, in my opinion, people together. And so how people looked at it, like even in 2010, and how they told you you're going to ruin your career. This is the small-mindedness that we need to move away from. Like, this is really what we need to move away from.
I really wish politicians would stop calling me and asking me for money, though, because now it's just fair game, so everybody wants to be a part of it.
Well,
and I had to laugh. I remember a bunch of sessions ago, but Ted Cruz, the senator from Texas, when cannabis became popular, and he came out and said, well, I smoked weed when I was in high school. And I was like, boy, no, you didn't. Didn't nobody want to smoke weed with you? Quit fronting. Well, you ain't in the club.
Well, actually, it was funny. We did a little show on that, on famous people who said they smoked marijuana. And it was funny, the comments they made, but just like you said, they said they smoked it, but they kind of when I was 30 years ago, I took a half a hit and all that type stuff. It's so funny.
That's a fucking lie. We know you didn't do a half a hit, and you did not inhale. Exactly. You definitely inhaled.
Smoked
you did
that
all
whole
of that.
Thing. You hot boxed it and everything.
You did all of that shit. You did it all, and you're lying to us. And then you see the people who make a comment, and they make it sound like they did do it, and you go, they never smoked pot. They just want to make it sound like they did.
No, you
so,
didn't. You were not part of the cool kids club. Get out of here.
Yeah, right on. So let's kind of switch gears here and talk a little bit about, and we'll take a break here in a minute, and then when we come back, we'll get busy again. But what is the transition from dispensary to afterwards to the political campaigns and to the Board of Regents? What was the transition like? Where was a trigger, or I don't know if you sold your business or
Nope.
Tell me what the trigger might have been there.
So I came out of politics. So I've been in politics now for 25 years. So I actually ran for Congress in 2002 when I was really young.
Wow.
But I had, from that experience, I didn't win, but from that experience, I opened up my own communications firm. I've been the campaign manager on 4 congressional campaigns. I was the campaign manager for Congressman Jared Polis, the first openly gay man elected to Congress, and who is now Governor Jared Polis. I was on Barack Obama's National Finance Committee, and all of this was before cannabis was legal. So I went from politics to cannabis and then back to politics.
I gotcha.
So this political piece is not new to me. It's what I've done. It's actually what I've done for most of my life. It's what made the cannabis piece to it actually make sense to me, right? Because I knew how to navigate the political rivers that were going to be standing in our way of getting through legalization. Mm-hmm. So this is the other reason why I'm real excited to be running for Congress, because one of my first goals when I get there is going to be pushing for full-on legalization. Because without full-on legalization, no business can survive. Consumers are at not at a loss, but consumers don't get the full benefit of all of the different products. Like if you love
Correct.
A product in California, you might not be able to get that product in Colorado,
That's
right?
correct.
Which is like saying you can have a Coca-Cola in Colorado, but can't buy a Coca-Cola in Alaska, right? It doesn't make sense,
Exactly.
So I look forward to, ending prohibition entirely. And ending the stigma behind cannabis, right? I thought that the stigma was gone by now, but people still act weird about it. And I'm like, why are y'all acting weird about it? So my hope is that having a member of Congress will be the great normalizer,
Yes.
for a plant that we all love very much.
Yes. Well,
So-
amazing.
Yeah, I'm very impressive with your background and your experience. So with all your accomplishments and the experience and all the different genres you worked in, and being in this political spectrum with a lot of other smart, engaging people, and being around a lot of men, What type of resistance have you got? Because a lot of people can't, me, I love when people are strong and smart. It's a motivating thing for me. It doesn't make me feel smaller. It impresses me and gives me energy to be more. So, but what kind of resistance have you met?
You know, why am I struggling with this question? Because I don't care about nobody's resistance. I don't care what people think. You know what I mean? I don't. I absolutely do not care.
Well, if
I
you
don't
don't
care.
listen, Wanda, and I like your answer, because if you don't care, it's not on your radar, right? And so that makes a lot of
It's
sense
not.
to me. It's not on her radar, so it's like if you,
No barriers.
it's like it flies over the head, and she stays focused on what she needs to focus on, and that's noise, right? It's just noise.
It's noise, and somebody going to be mad about something. And
Always, always.
if I sat back and I thought about all the things that somebody was mad at, I mean, that would be 24 hours of my day
Correct.
trying to address what somebody is mad at, right?
Right.
Because everybody mad at something, and quite frankly, it has nothing to do with me, right? That's
Right.
their
Let them be
problem
mad
if
by
they got a
themselves. Yeah.
problem.
Exactly,
They can be
exactly.
mad by
Themselves.
themselves.
Yeah.
Let them be bad by themselves.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what we're going to do, Wanda. I appreciate this. Is awesome. We're learning a lot, and you are a phenomenal guest. We are so appreciative to have you here. We're going to take a really quick break. I think it's about 3 minutes. We'll take a quick break. We're going to come back, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the Board of Regents, the controversy, the unduly censured. It's nonsense, because that I looked
Yeah.
deep into this, and then I want to talk about your campaign, and then we'll get out of here. So we'll be back right
Awesome.
after this.
All right.
Marijuana is huge.
So many dispensaries have resorted to a bland, impersonal shopping experience, where you often don't even get to see a sample of the cannabis you're planning on purchasing before you buy it. If you're looking for that extra personal touch, come check out High Roller Dispensary in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Our staff are avid cannabis connoisseurs who are sure to help you find the strains that fit you best. Whether you're looking for premium flower, edibles, concentrates, or tinctures, we have you covered with over 100 different strains to choose from, all of which are able to be seen, smelled, and thoroughly examined in our elegant showroom. If you're in a rush, we offer a seamless online ordering system that allows for in-depth exploration of all that we have to offer. So whether you're a novice or a seasoned stoner, be sure to stop by High Roller Dispensary and we'll make sure you're floating on Cloud 9 by the time you leave.
Right around here, 15 inches, maybe if you're younger, you go up to 19 inches, Yeah, you already went the big end.
Sometimes a CIO might make commitments to a CEO that they just can't fulfill. And it's very hard to succeed in those environments. You really want to be able to set the expectation right up front.
How would you feel with no sex, no weed for a month or two? I'm going to be really angry.
I feel sorry for Jake.
Yeah, Jake's gonna get fucked up.
Wow, this is Phil. This is all you. This is the Cough Country OG pink hoodie.
Hey, I'm OG Ganja Goddess, and you're watching Cough Country TV. Peace.
This is Chef Marvin Jane, and you're watching Cough Country TV, live from New York.
All righty, and we are back, guys. We are here with Wanda James this evening. Let's welcome Wanda back to the show. Wanda, thank you for sitting through the commercial. We appreciate it. The joy of live broadcasting. So, what I'd like to talk about... Yeah, so what I'd like to talk about now, which is I found it outrageous. I did not know about this until I did my research. I was able to watch that little hearing that they had, where you had you were at with your peeps and your family, your husband. I found it appalling, frankly, because what you stood up for was pretty basic. It's a pretty basic thing. I don't understand the controversy, but I'm going to let you explain it to us because it's outrageous.
I still don't understand the controversy. I still don't understand what happened. So, University of Colorado Anschutz put out some really racist material. I mean, it was horribly racist. I don't know if you guys have the pictures there to show your people, but they basically did an IG. They received $4 million from the state to do a information awareness campaign of high concentrate THC on the developing minds of young people, or the brains of young people. And, I'm all for that. I mean, I'm all for young people not using cannabis. That's the whole point behind legalization, right? Because when I was 16, nobody was carding me when I was buying weed, right? So this is a positive, I thought. And so the information that they put out was literally, they had 9 posts. 5 of the posts were these beautiful white women with their beautiful babies, real women, real pictures of women with their babies. And then they did these 4 horrible slides of caricatures of black people with every racist trope ever used against a black person since the history of America. That we have low intelligence, no ability for impulse control, more than likely to be a drug user, and I forgot what the other one was. But anyway, literally, this is what a $6 billion research institution put out. And so I called it out, and I called it out loud. The regents got pissed off, and they actually sent a memo to the AG's office to have me charged criminally because they said that I lobbied for the university to lose money. Because in an article, they'd asked me, well, Wanda, what would you have done with the money from the Cannabis Tax Fund? And my standard answer for 16 years, when someone says, what would you do with the money? I say it should go to the people who were harmed by the drug war. Amen. It should go to the businesses that were harmed by the drug war. And somehow or another, the MAGA crowd in Colorado Springs and the MAGA regents, and all of the white regents, sadly, locked arms and said that this was I had a conflict of interest and I lobbied for the university to lose money. And I'm like, you know what? Seriously, if the university is going to put out racist material, then yeah, it should lose money, and I'm going to say that again today, and I will say it all the time. When you put out something so horribly racist, not even a little bit controversial, but horribly racist, yeah.
How can you not say something?
Who paid for that again? I know you mentioned it, but I forgot.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
It
was the Cannabis Tax Fund. The marijuana tax fund.
Oh, so it was a good old power play
here
to
in Colorado, there is so much money from the taxes that goes into the marijuana tax fund. And then that money, which is billions of dollars, mind you, goes to building schools or homelessness in Aurora or or these studies, right? And so CU Anschutz got $4 million to do this information campaign so that young people wouldn't use high concentrate THC.
Wow.
But what racist caricatures of black people had to do with high concentrate THC was befuddling to me, because it had nothing to do with it. It was just racist and horrible.
And I agree with you. I looked at, and I didn't see all the images. I guess I didn't do all of my homework, but I saw the one with the fetuses, and that seems to be the one that's moving around the most online. And that could have easily been handled in sketch form or any other way to depict what they were trying to depict. There was no need. There was no reason or need. That was done on purpose. And
that was deliberate.
It was deliberate.
That one wasn't the worst one. That one wasn't the worst one. There's 4 other pictures on there, and they're all still up. If you go to my Facebook page, they're still on there. That if you go to my Facebook or my IG or my I keep them up there because I'm not letting Colorado off the hook with them. Right. But they were horrible, and it got worse. And the rest of them were also caricatures, right? There were these drawings of, it said from 0 to 4 years old, so it had like a little boy, and then it was 5 to 15 years old and another little black boy, and then 18 to 20 years old, another young black man, and talking about all of these things, how we have no impulse control, no intelligence, and no ability to not be drug users.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So amazing. I went in hard on them, and I guess they thought, I guess these white Republicans thought that they were going to spank me and I was going to lay there silently, and that didn't happen. So the entire Democratic.
I'm sorry, Wanda, I didn't mean to interrupt you. How long did it take from when you spoke out publicly to what I saw online? What was the time frame? Like, how fast did that develop?
So so there's a few things. I found out about these images on Saturday night. So the images I was fighting with them was from Saturday night until Tuesday. They took them down by the end of that week, which would have been Friday. And then the regents a month later sent the memo to the AG's office to have me charged criminally. So this was the end of January. At the end of February, they sent a memo to have me charged criminally.
This sounds like the same old thing repeating itself in history.
You can't even get it. You probably can't get you can't even get a permit in Colorado in 3 weeks, probably.
That part. But I fought and I won, right? I'm still sanctioned. I still don't get to go to football games as a regent.
Amazing.
But and forgive me for saying what I'm getting ready to say, because this isn't professional, but you know what? Fuck them people.
There
because, you go. What they did was they just showed how horribly racist they are, and
for everybody to see.
Up until today, they spent $500,000 investigating me. Do you know that not one regent has called to have CU Anschutz investigated to figure out how those images were produced and ended up being published? But they investigated me.
The challenges. And this is why we need these dispensaries to relieve our mind from all this.
So this is why we need to elect. This is why we need to elect politicians who are going to stand up for us and not be fearful about the consequences, right?
For the
people who aren't afraid to stand up and fight, because we are in a place in America right now. You think that America is all hunky dory and that 1776 was a long time ago, but the real answer is here. We're going to be fighting for this country for as long as this country is a country.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think it seems like it was almost built that way, that there's a continuous fight and an ebb and flow of power, which keeps things going over long periods of time. Because the cycles of how these things work are like, they're 10, 20-year cycles. And so you only see, we only see a few of these cycles in our lifetime, really, but it goes hundreds of years. So evident by the fact that 250 years is coming up, this year. So I guess that's a great transition to where we are today, Wanda, in terms of your campaign. Now, you're running against someone that has been in office for 3 decades, and her name is
30 years.
30 years. Her name is Diana DeGette. And Todd and I were talking right before we went on, and he was telling me that Diana DeGette also has a pro-cannabis position. Now, did Diana always have a pro-cannabis position? Or because over 30 years, I got to imagine that her position has changed.
So Diana is the pinnacle of a do-nothing Democrat. She doesn't lead on anything. She waits until the dust settles and then comes out or comes against something. There is zero leadership in this woman. It is shameful to me that Normal gave her an A. I'm assuming that's where you got the idea that
Yes.
she has a pro-cannabis position.
Yep.
Yes.
She represents, so CD1, Congressional District 1, which is also the district that I'm elected to as a regent, it's Denver. It's literally just Denver, right? So we all know that Denver is a pro-cannabis city, right? So you can't get elected dog catcher here being anti-cannabis in Denver, right? So the question isn't, has Diana come out against cannabis? Has Diana done anything for cannabis? So that answer is no. Why Normal gave her an A, I don't know, because sometimes in the cannabis industry, too many of us pander to politicians because we think the politicians are Beyonce and that they're not here to serve us. They just get excited when anybody pays them any attention whatsoever.
Great analogy.
So giving her an A, I don't know what they gave her an A for. You'd have to ask Normal that, because she's never done anything for cannabis. She's never stood up to ambition on the federal level. She's never stood up for the patients, the consumers, or the small business owners. So, you know, we've been out here battling now for 17 years just to be able to have normal business, to be able to, even for consumers, why can you only buy an ounce of weed in Denver, Colorado? You know what I mean? But you can buy 16 of tequila if you want to, right? I mean, make it make sense, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a shame that the cannabis industry has anointed Diana for absolutely doing nothing.
And who are some? Go ahead.
I'm
Todd.
sorry, and
No, go
that's
ahead.
what you get. You know, I mean, this, you know, it's not a problem within Colorado. It's across the country. You know, you can't have people sitting in the office doing this for 20 years. They get comfortable, and they don't have to
Yeah.
lead anymore. They're just getting, getting what they're getting for their position. So we need new energy, new ideas, and
Yep.
people that are not complacent.
Yep.
And you take
We
risks.
do,
You're,
and
you're
when-
for the people.
I am for the people. And when you have lived 30 years as a congresswoman, you live in a golden bubble. You know what I mean? You don't do your own grocery shopping. You don't do anything on your own. You have a full staff. You know, she's never met a payroll. She doesn't show up in community. She's not in the Black community. She's not in the Latino community. She's not there with young people. She's not there with cannabis owners. She's not there with women business owners. There is no constituency as to where Diana shows up, because she 30 years shows up, because she 30 years she just keeps getting reelected. She just keeps getting reelected and keeps getting reelected. But this is her first competitive race and keeps getting reelected. But this is her first competitive race in 25 years. So we're bringing the battle to her. This is the first time she's been up. This is the first time she's been up against somebody that has name recognition and the ability to raise money. Up against somebody that has name recognition and the ability to raise money and has political know-how. So we're about to give her a run for her money, and we're going to win.
Yeah, you are.
Let's go.
And
our
yeah,
internal polling says we're going to win. So I'm
Let's
excited.
go.
let's go. And so, are you in a field? What you're in a field of 8? Is that? Did I get that right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
What do you mean a field debate?
in the primary, you've got 8 Democrats all primarying, or 7 against her? Or no?
No. So anytime for Congress or even for president, you know, I mean, if you think about the list of president, there's probably 100 people that run for president every 4 years, right? So there are people who are in this race that haven't raised a dime, that nobody knows. So they're not really in the race. They just put their name, you know, they go to the Secretary of State and sign up and say that they're running for office. But no, it's going to be between Diana and I to see who goes to Congress.
Well, listen, we're gonna keep talking you up, Wanda, because anyone that's listening from Denver, we need to make sure they understand who they must vote for. This is not even a question. Wanda is beyond. You are beyond impressive. You are amazing. But what we'd like to do is we'd like to ask you a few different things, like some lighter stuff, real quick before we get out of here. So, what do you like to smoke? Are you a concentrate? You a flower girl? What do you like?
You know what? So I do it. Obviously, I'm a dispensary owner, so I'm happy to do all of the stuff. But at my heart, if I'm just sitting here with my husband, I'm old school. Give me a joint, roll it up.
That's
there
him.
You go.
That's him.
Listen, I am a believer in the old school joint.
Yeah.
It just flows perfect.
Yeah.
He doesn't even want to put a filter in it. He's
no
old school,
filter.
no filter, like Pall Mall shit.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I was laughing at my husband the other day because my husband literally rolled a joint and he licked it, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah, that's part of it.
That's old school, right?"
See, that's okay if they lick it, but don't be soaking it after that.
And did he dry it with the lighter? Did he dry it with the lighter?
No. Well, that's real bad if you gotta do that.
He did not, but he licked it, and I was just like, "You're lucky I'm married to you. I wouldn't be smoking this joint right now."
I had this friend I grew up with, and he has the wettest mouth. I'll tell you, I'd be like, "Oh man, please let me just roll that thing."
So myself, I'm more. I listen. I love my joints and stuff, but and they're always great. But I'm a big bong aficionado. I love my bong hits, and so that's kind of my thing. So is there a particular strain or a lineage that you like?
You know, man. So this is going to sound crazy to you guys, but when we first got into the industry, one of the things that we used to grow that just brought me so much joy, and I just loved it so much, and it was White Widow. And you can't find White Widow anymore. It's amazing what you can't find, but it just brought me just so much joy. And of all of the strains that I've ever smoked, that was probably one of my favorites, right? But of course, everybody loves Gorilla Glue. I mean, we can go through all of the things that have been out there that folks have loved, but I really miss a true White Widow.
So with that being said, which way do you lean? Sativa, indica? Do you like hybrids? What's your feel?
What time of day are we talking about?
Okay.
Come on, player.
Am I smoking with my coffee in the morning at 8 o'clock, or am I hanging with my husband watching a late night movie?
Ask the question properly,
what are we
man.
doing?
Well, you know what? I'll say this.
What are we doing?
Okay. Well, I have to tell you, over time things change. Like for me, I'm an indica guy, right? I'll indica all day, morning, day, all of that. But as I matured a little bit, now I'm a little bit more, let me drop the sativa earlier today or the hybrid and save the indica for later. So, I guess my youth and enthusiasm carried me through. But as I matured, I learned that I need to, separate these, different types of things depending on the type of day.
The most fun that we have in my house is we get up. We all get up really early. I don't know what that's all about, but we're up really early on a Saturday morning or during the day, and we watch politics early in the morning. We're drinking coffee, me, my husband, and my brother, and then we go into Stephen A. on ESPN, and so we get into all of the arguments from politics to sports, and it's my favorite time of the day, right? So it's coffee and a sativa.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Sound like a great household.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, I have to before we all get out of here. I have to. I was asked to ask you, Wanda. So on Cough Country TV, we've got a few different shows that we do here, and we're building a network that's designed to serve the industry. We're here to help companies sell, promote, and market their goods. One of the shows we have is called Cough Country News, and it's hosted by Bill, who you might see on our show here. He's on our late night show as well. He would love to interview you, so I wanted to ask, you don't have to give us an answer right now. I just wanted to let you know that Bill would love to interview you on Cough Country News. So just as a point of interest, FYI to you.
Of course. Yes.
Awesome,
Let me know when, and yes.
Awesome. And then, I guess, I want to give you the last word if I could before we kind of wrap up tonight. I do want to let you know that we do a late night show that comes on an hour after we finish this show. And in the future, you may be wanting to come on and hang out with us a little more in a more, we put our hair down environment type of thing. So.
I love it. I'm all about the late night, I mean,
right.
and we need to be in studio though. We're going to have, a good indica to end off the day with.
Listen,
that's how it works.
All you have to do is come.
Yeah. You're always welcome here.
I'm down.
Yeah, well, we're down to have you.
I'm old school. This is y'all are talking my life here, So this is what we do. This is how we do,
I
so
love it.
Yes.
Well, listen, I want to say this. When we're building this show and we reached out, I didn't necessarily think we would be able to get you, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on the show. We looked forward to having you. And I watched videos of you, and I'm like, I really think that Wanda, she seems like a person that I can hit this off with. And lo and behold, you turn out to be somebody that I can hit it off with. And so thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
Super awesome.
All right, cool.
I really appreciate you all too. And just if anybody is, you can go to Congress.com, WandaForCongress.com. You can see my platform. As much as I hate putting this out there, you can only get to Congress with money. We need to get money out of politics, but that's not going to happen by June. So if anybody wants to drop a dime, a dollar, or put $5 on it, that would be awesome. And if you want to follow me on Instagram or any of the socials, I'm Wanda L. James or Wanda for Congress. So Wanda L. James is me personally, personal stuff, and then Wanda for Congress is the political stuff.
And Wanda, we'll make sure we get all the information in the description below this video so everybody can find a way. If you guys are in Denver and you live in Denver proper, you have an election coming up, and you will have the opportunity to vote for Wanda, who is on our show right now. She is an impactful player that you want to vote for if you want to move things forward. She's got great ideas, and we support her. So, Wanda, thank you again so much for being here. We really appreciate having you. And
I appreciate y'all.
yeah, we appreciate it. Guys, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, Cough Country TV, Late Night Green. We will be back in an hour to do the Late Night Show.